Another day, another chance to expose some of the worst spots on the board. These teams aren't here to impress. Some of them can't hit water if they fell out of a boat, others blow leads like it's their day job, and a few pitchers look more like batting practice machines than professionals. But hey, that's where we make money, by fading the frauds, hammering the mismatches, and cashing tickets while everyone else is backing hype instead of reality. Match at Yankee Stadium is a textbook number-driven showdown, and the two names at the top of the card tell you everything you need to set the ticket tree. The Orioles hand the ball to Trevor Rogers 9-2, 1.35 ERA, 100K in approximately 106.2 IP, while the Yankees counter with Will Warren 8-8, 4.35 ERA, 164K on the season. Those lines say Rogers is the clear starter floor for run suppression and K upside relative to his ERA, while Warren brings higher K volume but also significantly more run variance and walk history. Treat this as an edge-seeking matchup where starter K lines and first 5 tempo bets are your bread and butter. Dig into the peripherals and you see the exact places to harvest value. Rogers' elite 1.35 ERA and sub-1.00 WHIP this season are supported by a below-league barrel rate and strike suppression, so his first 5 frames are real money for an under. Warren's high K total, 164 kiloseconds, points models toward his over K lines more often than books expect, but his elevated WHIP ERA footprint means he's far likelier to give up the solo or 2-run knocks that flip run lines late. StatCast splits, zone rates, chase percent, and recent exit velocity trends indicate the Yankees will look to drive balls against any fastball up and away, while Baltimore will rely on Rogers to induce weak contact and force the Yankees to string together multiple hits. When the market posts a conservative K line on Rogers and a generous one on Warren, that's where you attack. Bullpen texture is the late-inning lever here. The Yankees' bullpen, deeper on paper and better equipped with high-leverage arms down the stretch, gives New York a late-game edge if the game is close into the 7th and 8th. The Orioles' relievers have been effective in spots but are more volatile when forced into heavy workload turns. That dynamic makes a two-phase strategy optimal. Small, early units on first 5 and starter props, then conditional scaling on full-game Yankees exposure if Warren limits damage early or Rogers exits before 5. Market lines, books opening with a Yankees lean and totals in the high 7s, reflect that balance. Public money will chase the Yankees ML while sharps will probe the props and first 5 markets. Player props and concrete edges. Target high probability top order overs and correlated TB plays rather than lone HR lotteries. For the Yankees, Aaron Judge is a textbook TB HR target in good counts by TB overs if soft. Anthony Volpe and Gleyber Torres are prime 0.5 hit overs and multi-TB candidates versus lefties when counts favor hitters. For Baltimore, Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holliday are the top prop plays if Rogers leaves a mistake up. They're your small unit TB and RBI tickets. On the pitching side, Trevor Rogers over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6 U, as a clean play if the market posts is less than or equal to 7.0. Will Warren over 6.5 minus 7.5 kiloseconds, 0.6 U, carries value given his season K volume, but reduced size because of his run variance. First 5 anchor. First 5 under 4.0, 1.25 U, is my low variance core. Starter duel with Rogers' run suppression makes the early frames a premium edge. SGP in parlay construction that respects correlation. Conservative 2-leg, first 5 under plus Rogers over Ks ties starter dominance to tempo. Balanced 3-leg, Yankees ML conditional plus first 5 under plus Judge TB over outcome plus tempo. Plus top order value, aggressive 4-leg tiny unit. Yankees ML plus Rogers over Ks plus Judge hour plus Volpe over hit only a tiny unit due to 2 volatile legs. Live pivot rules. If Rogers K line shortens pre-lock, upsize correlated Yankees TB hits in the first 5 under rather than blindly juicing ML. If Warren posts an early high pitch count or shows command issues in innings 1-2, flip ML exposure toward Baltimore and lock prop hedges on Henderson, Holliday. Final prioritized ticketing with suggested sizing: 1U base, first 5 under 4.0, 1.25U, Rogers over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U, Warren over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.5U, Contrarian, Judge TB over 0.6U, Gunnar Henderson over 0.5 hits, 0.5U, Parlay Core, first 5 under plus Rogers over Ks, 0.9U. Lock props early. Watch pregame pitch count and bullpen whispers, and let the first 2 innings dictate whether you scale the ML or keep this a props first card. Game 2 between the Cubs and Cardinals is shaping up as a matchup where the slightest edge in command, bullpen depth, or home ballpark nuance can decide outcomes. According to the Cubs' official probable pitchers list, Drew Smyly will take the mound for Chicago, while St. Louis counters with Mason Dieneberg. That pairing already frames the ticket tree. Smyly is a veteran lefty with strike zone experience and moderate K upside. Dieneberg is young, lower in inning volume, and more prone to mistakes when counts climb. The smart leverage is in starter K props, first 5 tempo plays, and top order TB extra base bets when either misses location. Look at the peripherals. Smyly's 2025 surface numbers show a mid 4.00 ERA, but his FIP and ZERA tend to be lower, which implies some sequencing luck. His swing and miss stuff is solid, but when he misses the zone he gives up damage. Dieneberg, on the other hand, posts higher BB rates and elevated HR, barrel percentages, which makes him vulnerable when hitters chase into counts. That dichotomy means if Smyly shows command early, his over K line is a safe midsize play. If Dieneberg is on a pitch count early or falls behind, the Cubs' top-order TB overs become playable. Use StatCast barrel and O-swing splits to decide which hitters to mathematically lean. The bullpen structures accentuate these starter differences. Chicago's bullpen this season has been steadier, with fewer inherited run meltdowns and moderate whip numbers, approximately 1.30. St. Louis's bullpen has had bright arms but also more volatility in high-leverage frames, especially when forced to cover multiple innings. That delta means the first frame your starter exits becomes your risk point. You'd rather have the Cubs' bullpen stepping in behind Smyly with a lead than the Cards' relievers behind Dieneberg. Because of that, scale your full game ML exposure only after seeing how deep Smyly can go. Until then, bets should lean toward starters and tempo plays. On hitters, the Cubs lineup has names who punish lefties when they miss. Ian Happ, Patrick Wisdom, and Seiya Suzuki all carry extra base potential and have shown power splits versus LHP. On the Cardinals side, Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt carry consistent TB elevator when pitchers leave mistakes up. Target low juice 0.5 hit overs for those names and TB overs if the line is generous, rather than stacking 2 HR legs in a parlay. From market perspective, books will likely open Cubs as slight favorites with total in the mid-sevens. The public will chase Cubs ML and HR fireworks, but sharp money may rotate into Smyly over K or first 5 under if his K line starts low. Watch pre-lock K rebounds. If Smyly's K line shortens by 0.5 plus, that's a signal to buy correlated prop plays rather than bulk ML. Here's how I'd size and structure. First 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25U, as my tempo anchor. Cubs ML, 0.75U, conditionally if Smyly clears 5 and bullpen depth is confirmed. Smyly over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U, if line is less than or equal to 7.0. Happ 0.5 hits over, 0.5U. Arenado total bases over, 0.4U, if line permits. Dieneberg under 5.5 kiloseconds, 0.25U, as contrarian small play when line is inflated. HR flyers only as tiny units. Parlay builds. 2-leg equals first 5 under plus Smyly over Ks. 3-leg equals Cubs ML plus first 5 under plus Happ over hit. 4-leg tiny equals Cubs ML plus Smyly over Ks plus Arenado TB over plus HR flyer. Use correlation, starter dominance right pointing arrow suppressed total right pointing arrow top order hits rather than stacking independent longshots. Lock props early if lines are favorable, monitor pitcher warm-ups and bullpen readiness, and hedge ML to first 5 if any unexpected control issues arise in innings 1 or 2. The Blue Jays hand the ball to Shane Bieber while the Rays counter with Adrian Houser, and that starter pairing defines the ticket tree. Bieber brings a sub-1.00 whip and elite command when his breaking stuff is sharp, which tilts models toward low team totals and high probability K volume on his side. Houser is a length-first guy with a mid-3.00 era who limits free base runners but can be punished when he leaves heat elevated, so the clean edges live in correlated starter K plays, first 5 tempo tickets, and selective TB RBI overs rather than reckless ML hanging. Start by quantifying the pitching edges. Bieber's SWSTR% and O-swing profile push projected K lines up relative to the market, so an over on Bieber Ks is a repeatable target when books post is less than or equal to 7.5-8.0 depending on the shop. Houser's K9 is lower, but his ability to eat innings keeps totals manageable, which makes first 5 under extremely attractive as a low variance anchor. 2 reliable starters suppress early scoring and the market historically underprices the tempo compression by 4-7% in comparable matchups. If Bieber's K line shortens pre-lock, that's your sharp cue to load correlated J's top order TB hit overs rather than bloating ML exposure. Bullpen texture is the late frame lever. Toronto's relievers this month have been steady in setup to closer leverage, converting high-leverage situations at a better clip than Tampa's pen, which has been more volatile in inherited runner environments. That gives Toronto conditional late-game upside. If Bieber goes 5 and hands a lead to the pen, Jays win expectancy jumps significantly. Conversely, if Houser eats 6 and hands the ball to Tampa's fresh high-K relievers, the Rays flip the leverage. Practically, play first 5 and starter props early, and only scale full-game Jays ML once Bieber clears the 5th with a clean pitch count. Monitor bullpen availability and warm-up whispers, those will blow up or validate your sized ML. Hitter-level targets are micro edges. Toronto's George Springer and Dalton Varsho, recent Grand Slam pop, are high EVTB plays when Houser misses up. Springer's zone discipline produces repeatable 0.5 hit overs and TB work, while Varsho's pull power and recent form make him a legit small unit HR ticket. For Tampa Bay, Junior Caminero is the canonical long ball threat and functions as your Rays HR flyer when Bieber leaves a fastball over the plate. Yandy Diaz, or the top contact bat available, is a high probability 0.5 hit play because he punishes mistakes and draws favorable counts. Favor TB overs for top sluggers over one-off HR parlays unless the number is dramatically plus EV. Market framing and sizing. Books are posting a Jays lean with totals in the high 7s to 8.0 range, so public money will chase the Jays ML and long HR shots while sharps buy Bieber K lines and first 5 unders. My suggested sizing relative to a 1U base core low variance play first 5 under 3.5-4.0. 1.25U, primary prop Shane Bieber over 7.5 kiloseconds, 0.75U, if line is less than or equal to 8. Conditional side Blue Jays ML, 0.75U, only if Bieber clears 5 with pitch count less than 90 and bullpen reports are clean. Hitter props, small units, George Springer over 0.5 hits, 0.6U, Dalton Varsho hour, 0.25U flyer, Junior Caminero hour, 0.25U, contrarian nibble Adrian Houser under 4.5 walks, 0.3U, if books inflate his walk total. SGP and parlay construction that respects correlation. Conservative 2-leg, first 5 under plus Bieber over Ks, 0.9U, ties starter dominance to tempo. Balanced 3-leg, Blue Jays ML plus first 5 under plus Springer over hit, 0.6U, mixes outcome and high probability prop. Aggressive tiny 4-leg, only tiny units, Blue Jays ML plus Bieber over Ks plus Varsho hour plus Caminero hour, 0.12U, 1 or 2 long shots max per SGP to keep variance manageable. Live pivot rules. If Bieber's K line shortens greater than 0.5 pre-lock, scale Bieber over and correlated Jays TBs, If Hauser posts a low first inning pitch count or shows shallow zone early, trim first 5 and flip to raise first 5 or small raise TB exposures. Check scratches and bullpen warm-ups up to first pitch and treat the first 2 innings as your live market. That's where you hedge or double down depending on pitch count and zone reads and adjust unit sizing accordingly for disciplined edge capture. San Francisco lines up Trevor McDonald, 0-0, 3.38 ERA, against German Marquez, 3.15, 6.49 ERA, in what on paper is a contrast between a rookie, less experienced command arm and a veteran with extreme volatility. McDonald brings a clean slate and modest metrics, while Marquez brings an ERA that screams regression, a high whip and elevated hard contact rates. The framing is obvious. McDonald's upside is steadiness and limiting damage. Marquez's upside is raw swing and miss, but his downside, long innings with big hits, is enormous. Every ticket should start with that divergence. Starter K plays, first 5 tempo, and where the lineup matchup tilts. Let's talk bullpen leverage. Colorado's bullpen has been brutal this year, with an ERA of about 5.25 and whip approximately 1.512, plus approximately 25 blown saves and a shaky save conversion rate. That's bottom-tier material. Meanwhile, the Giants' relievers have been more stable and better in high-leverage frames, which gives San Francisco a late-game edge if McDonald survives into the 6th or 7th with a lead. That means scale your full-game Giants exposure only after seeing how deep McDonald can go and pinching based on pitch count and bullpen reports. The matchup analytics sharpen your edges. Marquez's season metrics show elevated barrel, hard hit rates. That means when he misses location, especially up in the zone, power hitters will torch him. Use StatCast splits and recent exit velocity data to identify which hitters to target. For example, Giants hitters with pull power are teams that hit well versus RHP when counts favor them. McDonald, albeit less tested, can be attacked for extra base hits if he's missing gloves side, but his safer floor means his over K line is more valuable than his ML until he proves stamina. The ideal exploits: McDonald over Ks, first 5 under, top order Giants 0.5 hits, and Rockies HR when Marquez leaves something up. On the hitter side, San Francisco's contact and moderate power batters become key. Even though Giants hitters historically struggle versus LHP, in this spot the volatility of Marquez gives them a chance to break through. Target 0.5 hit overs and TB overs where lines are loose. For Colorado, one-name power threats like Hunter Goodman are your HR flyers. He may steal one when Marquez makes a mistake. But don't lean heavy on multiple HR legs, use precisely sized flyers. The core value is in correlated props. Odds boards have it. Giants are heavy favorites, often minus 240 megaliters, and the total sits around 8.5. In many books, that pricing already reflects marketplace respect for San Francisco's bullpen and Marquez's liability. Public money will chase Giants ML and perhaps run line, while sharps will gravitate to K overs, first 5 unders, and correlated TB hit props. The logic: avoid bloated ML and build around the model edges. Here's a practical unit breakdown: 1U base based on risk versus value. First 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, anchor play at 1.25U, starter duel equals compressed early scoring. Giants ML, 0.75U but conditional on McDonald through 5 innings and bullpen health. McDonald over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U by when line is less than or equal to 7.0. Hunter Goodman HR, 0.25U flyer. Top Giants 0.5 hits overs, spread across 2 to 3 hitters, aggregate 0.6U. Marquez over 5.5 kiloseconds, tiny unit 0.3U only if line is generous. Parlay SGP builds with correlation in mind. 2-leg, first 5 under plus McDonald over Ks. 3-leg, Giants ML plus first 5 under plus Giants hit over. 4-leg tiny, Giants ML plus McDonald over K's plus Goodman Hour plus Giants TB over, only tiny stake due to multiple volatility legs. Pre-lock pivots to watch. If McDonald's K line shortens more than 0.5, upsize correlated Giants TB, hit overs rather than just piling ML. If Marquez's HR or ER line inflates late, that signals market expectation of contact damage, pivot to Giants hitter props. If McDonald shows early trouble, high pitch count, shallow strike rate, flip ML exposure into first 5 hedge. Lock props early. Monitor bullpen warm-ups to see if an unexpected arms change the late leverage math, and use the first 2 innings as your live calibration window. That's where to trim or scale in. This one's a grinder at Nationals Park where the matchup mechanics tell you everything before the first pitch. The White Sox are sending Sean Burke to the hill while Washington counters with Jake Irvin, so build your process around Burke's high spin, high leverage profile versus Irvin's longer outing, contact heavy profile and the uglier Nationals run environment. MLB's probable pitchers page lists Burke versus Irvin for the Saturday start, so treat the starters as the primary axis for K lines and first 5 tempo plays. Crunching the peripherals, Burke's surface numbers show a swing and miss floor mixed with a higher walk rate that creates K opportunity but also the occasional free base runner. That makes his over K lines a playable target in fair markets but also demands sizing discipline because the whip BB exposure can flip an otherwise profitable K night into a run line loss. Irvin, by contrast, has been an innings eater with a higher ERA and more contact allowed. He gives you volume innings, but also more hard contact and HR risk, which makes him a textbook target for top-order TB overs rather than K plays. Use swinging strike, O-swing and recent exit velocity splits to decide whether to buy Burke's K props or to pivot to bat side TB plays versus Irvin. Bullpen texture tilts this matchup toward the Sox on paper. Chicago's pen sits middle of the pack while Washington's relief core grades out near the bottom of the league in ERA and whip, which is a late frame lever you can't ignore. If Irvin exits early or gives up traffic, the Nationals' pen volatility materially increases the probability of multi-run innings against Washington. That's why full-game Nationals bets should be smaller and conditional on Irvin eating into the 6th. Conversely, if Burke hands the ball off with a lead, White Sox win expectancy rises because their bullpen is comparatively steadier. Use bullpen rank as your late-game sizing governor. Player prop structure. Favor low juice, high-frequency overs 0.5 hits, total bases on top-order bats instead of packing HR parlays. For Chicago, Lennon Sosa and other top-order pieces who swing for hard contact are the 0.5 hit per terabyte plays to buy because Irvin's contact tendencies regress into extra base chances when counts go hitter favored. For Washington, James Wood and C.J. Abrams are your primary TB RBI candidates. Small units on Wood HR are fine as a flyer given his seasonal power, but don't overweight. On the pitching side, Sean Burke over 5.5 minus 6.5 kiloseconds is an actionable starter prop if the posted number is conservative, while Jake Irvin over under K lines should be sized smaller and used mainly as hedges against early bullpen chaos. Market movement on Burke's K line is the sharp tell. If it shortens pre-lock, scale correlated Sox top-order TB hit overs rather than bloating in ML. Ticket architecture, units relative to a 1U base anchor with first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25U, both starters suppress early big innings and the tempo market historically overpays in these matchups. Conditional single White Sox ML, 0.6U only if Burke clears 5 with a healthy pitch count and the Sox pen shows normal availability. Props. Burke over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U buy if is less than or equal to 7.0. Lennon Sosa over 0.5 hits, 0.5U. James Wood total bases over, 0.5U. Irvin under 5.5 kiloseconds, 0.25U. Contrarian, tiny HR flyers, 0.15 minus 0.25U only. SGPs that respect correlation. 2-leg core first 5 under plus Burke over K's, 0.9 U. Balanced 3-leg White Sox ML plus first 5 under plus top Sox hit over, 0.45 U. Heap 1 volatile leg per SGP and cap SGP exposure to is less than or equal to 20% of your total stake. Live pivot rules that actually matter. If Burke's pregame K line shortens greater than 0.5, that's sharp money. Buy correlated Sox TB, hit overs and scale the 2-leg SGP. If Irvin posts a low first inning strike rate or a high pitch count in innings 1 to 2, flip ML exposure toward Chicago and hedge with first 5 plays. If the Nationals reveal a late available high leverage reliever who's been effective, trim full game Sox ML and favor prop only structures. Risk management. Treat props as the source of repeatable plus EV, ML is conditional insurance, first 5 is your hedge desk, and always cross book K lines before committing units because a half-point move is an edge on its own. Tonight's Fenway Tilt is a pure matchup game that screams process over gut. The Tigers send Casey Mize to the bump while the Red Sox counter with Kyle Harrison, and that pairing instantly shapes our ticket tree around starter K's, first 5 tempo, and targeted total base plays rather than blind run line swings. Mize brings a steady 14-6 ledger with a MID 3.90 ERA and the sort of innings-eating profile that keeps teams in the fight. Harrison is a lefty with swing and miss stuff in smaller samples who suppresses barrels when he lands his breaking ball. Use the starters. SWSTR %K, 9 and recent pitch count health as the first filters before you size anything. Digging into peripherals. Mize's season shows a pitcher who avoids long slogs but will surrender the occasional hard contact when he leaves pitches elevated. That makes him vulnerable to multi-TB at bats but gives him a reliable floor for innings. Harrison's chase and whiff metrics push projection models to favor his K lines and first 5 under logic. If books post a conservative K number for Harrison, as less than or equal to 6.5-7.0, it's a green light to buy. StatCast splits, zone %, chase %, and barrel rates indicate the highest EV is in top-order TB overs for the team facing the starter who shows elevated barrel rates that day. Check Harrison's recent zone share and Mize's HR/FB splits pre-lock. Those two numbers will guide your props sizing. Bullpen leverage is the late frame governor here. Boston's relief core has been legitimately strong this season, ranking among the better bullpen eras league-wide and providing reliable high-leverage arms. Detroit's pen is more middle of the pack with higher variance in inherited runner performance. Translate that into betting. Prioritize first 5 and starter props early, and only crank full-game Red Sox ML units once Harrison, or the Red Sox starter on the day, clears the 5th with a manageable pitch count and the bullpen warm-ups look normal. Conversely, if Mize tunnels into the 6th and the Sox pen looks taxed, flip sizing toward Detroit's small unit ML exposure and TB plays. Hitter level edges. Buy low juice, high frequency overs. For Boston, target the top of the order for 0.5 hit overs and TB overs. These are low variance and cash more often than HR clickbait. If Mize's first inning zone is shallow or his FB velocity dips, Aaron Judge type power, if in the lineup, and other barreling bats become TB candidates. For Detroit, Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson profile as your long ball per terabyte targets when Harrison leaves cutters up. For K plays, Harrison over Ks is the clean starter play if his line is conservative. Mize over Ks can be playable but size smaller because his contact profile occasionally limits huge K totals. Market signals and ticket construction. Books are pricing this as a tight process game with totals in the high 7s to low 8s and a slight home lean to Boston in some shops. Sharps will probe Harrison's K line and first 5 unders. Public money will chase the Boston ML. My recommended sizing: 1U base anchor first 5 under 3.5-4.0, 1.25U, as the low variance play. Conditional Red Sox ML, 0.75U. If Harrison clears 5 with pitch count less than 90 and pen looks healthy. Harrison over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U. If line is less than or equal to 7. Casey Mize over under K is smaller contrarian depending on posting. Top Red Sox over 0.5 hits, aggregate 0.6 U, and a tiny Detroit HR Flyer, 0.25 U, if the number is fair. Pair legs by correlation. First 5 under plus Harrison over Ks is the 2-leg core. Add a TB leg for a 3-leg SGP only when the K line shortens pre-lock. Live rules you must follow. 1. If Harrison's K line shortens greater than 0.5 pre-lock, scale Harrison over and correlated Boston TB, hit overs rather than bloating ML. 2. If Mize is pulled before 4.0 IP or posts an early pitch count spike, flip ML exposure to a first 5 hedge and trim TB legs tied to late innings. 3. Always cross-check bullpen warm-ups. An unexpected late arm for either side is a rapid reprice R of ML versus prop value. Final succinct picks. First 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25 U, Harrison over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6 U, Red Sox ML, 0.75 U conditional, top order Red Sox over 0.5 hits, 0.6 U aggregate, and a conservative 2-leg SGP first 5 under plus Harrison over Ks, 0.9 U, lock props early. Monitor pitch counts, and let the first 2 innings tell you whether to scale ML or stick with a props first card. This series' final showdown in Miami is a classic numbers matchup where the starters and bullpen texture write the script before the first pitch. The Mets send rookie Brandon Sproat, 0-1, 3.94 ERA, 15K, to the bump, and the Marlins counter with veteran Sandy Alcantara, 10-12, 5.48 ERA, 139K, a pairing that immediately frames our process. Sproat profiles as a low sample, high upside whiff guy who can pile Ks when he's hittable, while Alcantara still carries swing and miss equity but has shown concerning run and barrel metrics this season, so the clean edges will be starter K plays, first 5 tempo bets, and top order TB hit overs rather than one-off run line heroes. Crunch the peripherals and you see where numbers point. Sproat's limited sample yields a K floor but also uncertainty on innings ceiling. That makes over K props Sproat over 5.5 minus 6.5 attractive when books post conservative lines, and it makes first 5 unders a core tempo play if both starters are on. Alcantara's 2025 surface era and barrel exit velo trends suggest more damage. When he leaves pitches elevated, which creates TB upside for Mets middle-order bats in short spurts. Projection models that weight SWSTR% and recent chase rates push Sproat toward playable K overs while pricing Alcantara as more hittable on mistake pitches. Bullpen leverage is the late-inning governor, and it tilts modestly to the Mets on stability. New York's pen this year sits around approximately 3.93 minus 3.95 ERA with a whip near 1.30. While Miami's relief core grades worse, roughly 4.31 minus 4.34 ERA and whip approximately 1.33, which means if Alcantara gets knocked early, the Marlins are more likely to bleed in the late frames. Practically that drives a 2-phase ticket tree. Small, early units on starter props and first 5 plays, then conditional scaling into Mets full game exposure if Sproat hands off a lead or if Alcantara exits before the 6th. Conversely, if Alcantara looks vintage deep, flip to correlated Marlins top order TB plays and tiny ML exposure. Player level micro edges. Mets value comes via their middle order. If guys like Pete Alonso or Brett Beatty, or whoever is penciled in, get favorable counts against Alcantara's elevated offerings, TB overs and 0.5 hit overs are high frequency tickets. For Miami, Corbin Carroll, Jazz Chisholm type profiles are the HR Flyers if Sproat misses with heaters, but emphasize low juice plays over 0.5 hits, TB overs rather than HR Parlays because the variance is concentrated in 1 or 2 loud swings. Correlate starter K overs with top order hit overs. If Sproat's K line shortens, sharp money by Mets top order hits and TBs rather than bloating an ML ticket. Market and sizing logic with concrete tickets, units relative to a 1U base, anchor the card with first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25 U. Both starters can suppress early scoring, and this tempo play historically outperforms full game unders in similar starter matchups. Primary prop. Brandon Sproat over 5.5 minus 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6 U if line is less than or equal to 7. Secondary prop. Sandy Alcantara over 5.5 kiloseconds, 0.4 U, as a small contrarian if his K line looks underpriced, he still misses bats. Hitter plays. Mets middle order TB, 0.5 hit overs, aggregate 0.8 U across 2 to 3 hitters, and Marlins top order 0.5 hit overs, 0.4 U. Conditional full game single. Mets ML, 0.75 U, but only scale if Sproat clears 5 with pitch count less than 90 and bullpen warm-ups show no surprise arm. Otherwise keep ML exposure tiny. SGP, parlay construction that respects correlation. Safe 2-leg. First 5 under plus Sproat over Ks ties starter dominance to tempo. Balanced 3-leg. Mets ML conditional plus first 5 under plus Alonso, Beatty TB over outcome plus tempo plus top order value. Tiny high upside 4-leg coin size Mets ML plus Sproat over Ks plus Marlins hour plus top Mets TB, 1 true longshot max. Live pivots to watch. Pre-lock K line shortening for Sproat equals sharp money, scale correlated Mets props, Alcantara HR inflating equals by Mets TB, RBI legs, early pitch count spikes or bullpen warm-ups reveal equals hedge ML into first 5. Lock props early if lines are fair and treat the first 2 innings as the real market. That's where you hedge or press depending on pitch counts and strike share signals. Final prioritized picks do pre-lock checks top single. First 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25 U top prop. Brandon Sproat over 5.5 minus 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.6 U hit cluster. Mets middle order over 0.5 hits per terabyte overs, aggregate 0.8 U, conditional side. Mets ML, 0.75 U, only if Sproat greater than 5 IP and bullpen checks clean. Small contrarian. Alcantara over 5.5 kiloseconds, 0.4 U, if mispriced. SGP core. First 5 under plus Sproat over Ks. Lock early. Monitor K-line movement and bullpen availability up to first pitch, and execute strict in-game hedges if starters show early trouble because disciplined adjustments are how you convert these statistical edges into long-term profit. Tonight's Twins-Phillies matchup centers on contrasting pitcher profiles and bullpen durability, and those 2 variables should form the foundation of your ticket tree before the lineup even posts. The Phillies are slated to throw Taijuan Walker, 14-11. 4.08 ERA, approximately 180 K, while Minnesota counters with Joe Ryan, 10-10, approximately 3.50 ERA, approximately 200 plus K. Ryan's reputation is as a strikeout ground ball guy with steady command, while Walker has great upside but more variance in long counts. That gives Ryan tighter K line value and Walker the volatile upside. The strategy: lean starter K plays. First 5 tempo bets, and top order TB extra base overs rather than run line aggression early. Quant metrics support that. Ryan's SWSTR % and O-swing metrics are above cohort mean, which tilts projection models to price Ryan over Ks more often than public expectation. Walker's contact metrics and whiff suppression show that when he's not missing, he gives up hard contact. So his HR barrel rates are an exploitable area for Minnesota's power bats. Using StatCast splits, focus on which Twins hitters drive opposing broken stuff versus which Phillies hitters punish mistakes, and lean toward TB overs on those matchups. Bullpen depth is the late game swing factor. The Phillies' pen has been middling all season, capable in moderate frames but sometimes shaky under prolonged pressure. Minnesota's bullpen is more tested in high-leverage scenarios and may have the edge late if the game is tight. That means full-game Phillies bets should be sized cautiously, with larger exposure allotted if Walker reaches the 6th with manageable count. Until then, props and tempo bets are your safer carry. Player prop edges. In Minnesota's order, Byron Buxton and Willie Calhoun, if active, are HR per terabyte candidates when Walker leaves mistakes. In Phillies lineup, Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber are natural TB and HR targets versus strike-throwing righties who air up. For K plays, Joe Ryan over 8.5 kiloseconds is playable when line is less than or equal to 9.0. Walker over 6.5 kiloseconds is small unit when his line is soft. For tempo, first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0 is a strong anchor because both starters suppress early run production. Market signals. Books will open a modest lean to Minnesota, total likely in high 7s or low 8s. Public money will chase ours and Phillies upside. Sharps will sniff out K-line softness and tempo edges. If Ryan's K-line shortens pre-lock, scale correlated Minnesota TB hit overs instead of bloating ML. Early pitch count leaks on Walker are your signal to hedge ML exposure into props. Suggested sizing. First 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25U, Minnesota ML, 0.75U, conditional. Ryan over 8.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U, Harper TB over, 0.5U, Calhoun hour, 0.25U, Walker over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.25U. Parlay SGP builds. 2-leg equals first 5 under plus Ryan over Ks. 3-leg equals Minnesota ML plus first 5 under plus Harper TB over. Maintain 1 volatile leg max per SGP. Lock props early. Watch bullpen warm-ups and scratch news, and hedge immediately if pitch counts or strike share signals deviate in inning 1 or 2. We've got an interesting pitcher matchup setting the stage for Braves versus Pirates tonight. According to FanDuel's odds preview, Joey Wentz gets the start for Atlanta, 5-6. 5.46 era, and the Pirates turn to Mitch Keller, 6.15, 4.22 era, to battle in what projects to be a mid-eights total, with the Braves as moderate favorites. Wentz's surface numbers aren't pretty. A 5.46 era indicates he's had trouble limiting damage, but dig deeper and you find upside in his K profile. Models that weigh swing and miss SWSTR% and chase metrics suggest his over K line, if posted in the 7.5-8.5 range, could carry value. Keller, while heavy in losses, has a 4.22 era and solid innings volume. His strength is limiting walks and eating innings, but he's vulnerable to power when he misses. That sets your edges. Wentz over Ks, first 5 under, and top-order Braves TB hit overs versus Keller when he mistakes up, while Keller's downside invites value plays in Pirates power bats when Wentz leaves pitch up. Bullpen texture amplifies this. Atlanta's bullpen has been serviceable, with more consistency in high-leverage spots compared to Pittsburgh's relief core, which has shown volatility handling inherited runners. In other words, if Wentz exits early under duress, Atlanta's pen is more trusted to contain damage. That means full game bets should be structured conditionally, small until Wentz proves viability early, then scale up ML or run line exposure. Meanwhile, Pirates ML or power props are better as hedges than marquee bets. Hitter props become clean value here. For Atlanta, Matt Olson, Michael Harris II, and Marcell Ozuna are natural TB or 0.5 hit overs, especially against Keller's mistakes in counts. For Pittsburgh, O'Neal Cruz or Brian Reynolds are your HR extra base flight risks if Wentz leaves fastballs elevated. When the book posts TB lines that seem disconnected from recent exit velo splits, that's where I lean hard. On starters, Wentz over Ks, small to moderate unit, is your primary prop, and Keller under 7.5 kiloseconds is a contrarian angle when line overshoots his typical ceiling. From the markets, most books open Braves around -156 to -162 megaliters, and totals in the 8.5 range. That pricing implies respect for Atlanta's offense and home pitch environment but doesn't discount volatility from Wentz's shaky era. The sharper money will likely probe Wentz's K line and lean into correlated Braves TB plays rather than simply backing MLs. If Wentz's K line shortens before lock, that's your signal to overweight correlated props. If Keller's era or HR line inflates, that's a cue to shield toward Braves hitters. Here's a practical construction, units relative to 1U base. First 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0 is your anchor, 1.25U. Early innings should be compressed by both starters. Braves ML sized at 0.75U conditionally once Wentz clears 5 with manageable pitch count. Wentz over Ks 0.6U if line is less than or equal to 8. Top Braves over 0.5 hits, aggregate approximately 0.6U across 2 to 3 hitters. Matt Olson total bases over 0.5U when TB line is favorable. O'Neill Cruz hour 0.25U flyer if the number is fair. Keller under 7.5 kiloseconds 0.25U as a small contrarian play. Parlay SGP ideas respecting correlation. 2-leg. First 5 under plus Wentz over Ks. 3-leg. Braves ML plus first 5 under plus Olson TB over. 4-leg tiny unit Braves ML plus Wentz over Ks plus Ozuna hit over plus Cruz HR, only one volatile leg. Pre-lock pivots to watch. If Wentz's K line shortens sharply, scale into TB hit overs rather than just bolstering ML. If Keller's HR/ER props inflate, lean heavier on Braves offense props. If Wentz shows a first inning strike share less than 55% or high pitch counts early, flip ML exposure to a first 5 hedge. Monitor bullpen warm-ups and scratches up to first pitch. If a surprise arm enters the pen, that can reprice ML and prop exposure. Lock props early when lines are favorable and use the first 2 innings as your real market. Disciplined adjustments there separate winners from chasers. Tonight's showdown in Cleveland pits Slade Cecconi for the Guardians against Jack Leiter for the Rangers, and that pairing immediately crafts your betting framework. Cecconi is a contact management guy whose floor lies in innings and pitch efficiency, while Leiter carries swing and miss upside with elevated K potential but also greater downside if lefty power emerges. The sharp edges live in starter K overs, first 5 tempo plays, and top-order TB overs tied to counting mistakes, rather than high-leverage run-line wagers. MLB.com. Within their peripherals, Leiter's SWSTR percent and chase metrics project him to exceed the average K line when in rhythm, making Leiter over Ks a recurring target underpriced in many markets. Cecconi's contact suppression and walk management suggest his first 5 innings should trend under, i.e. first 5 under, more often than books reflect. Use StatCast barrel and exit velocity splits to pick hitters. Target Guardians hitters who punish lefties, and Rangers hitters who connect in counts on pitches elevated over the zone. When a K line shortens for Leiter, that's your cue to lean correlated TB hit overs rather than bloating ML. Bullpen strength is the late frame decider. The Guardians' pen has been rock solid, with lower bullpen era and stronger inherited run control, while the Rangers' relief group has shown inconsistencies when forced to cover multiple innings or bridge big gaps. That structure means if Leiter exits early or is taxed, the Rangers become vulnerable in late frames. Therefore full game bets on Texas should be smaller, hedged or conditional. Bigger exposure is appropriate when Leiter clears 5 and the bullpen looks clean. On hitters, Cleveland's top of order Ramirez, Lindor, Jose Devers if active, bring high hit floor value, especially when the script cuts to mid-game count leverage versus Leiter. On Texas, Gunnar Henderson and Josh Jung, if in lineup, have power upside and TB value when Cecconi miscues. For props, Leiter over Ks 0.6U is prime. Cecconi under 6.5 kiloseconds 0.3U can be a counter when the line is aggressive. Top Guardians over 0.5 hits, aggregate approximately 0.6U. Rangers power TB overs 0.4U when lines permit. Market indicators. Books will likely price this game tight with total near 8.0. Early sharp money tends to funnel into Leiter's K line and first 5 under. If Leiter's K line shortens pre-lock, scale correlated TB hit plays. If Cecconi's K line inflates or ER prop moves late, shift lean to Guardians offense props. Check cross book lines and ticket flow before committing. Ticket sizing proposals relative to 1U base, first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25U, Rangers ML, 0.75U, conditionally. Lighter over Ks, 0.6U, Top Guardians 0.5 hits overs, 0.6U aggregate, Henderson TB over, 0.4U, Cecconi under 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.3U. Parlay SGP ideas. 2 leg equals first 5 under plus lighter over Ks. 3 leg equals Rangers ML plus first 5 under plus Top Guardians hit over. 4 leg tiny unit equals Rangers ML plus lighter over Ks plus Henderson TB plus good HR flyer. Keep 1 volatile leg per SGP and scale accordingly. Early props lock recommended. Monitor pitch count and bullpen dynamics in innings 1 to 2. That's your real-time signal whether to hedge or double down. Tonight's showdown in Milwaukee sets 2 contrasting pitchers on paper. Quinn Priester for the Brewers and Zach Littell for the Reds. And that matchup frames everything. Priester brings a stronger K profile and lower baseline damage allowance, while Littell provides innings stability and the chance for long game value. In tight slates like this, the math favors starter K overs, first 5 under, and strategically placed TB hit overs over speculative run line swings. Priester's 2025 line 13-2, 3.25 ERA. Approximately 128 kiloseconds, gives him build-in trust. His swinging strike and chase rates project higher K, 9 than many books price, meaning Priester over Ks is a primary value play when lines are as less than or equal to 8.0. Littell, though with a slightly higher ERA approximately 3.86, is a durable arm who yields lower walk rates. His value lies in his ability to suppress traffic more consistently than most mid-rotation guys, which makes TB overs on hitters who square mistakes a worthwhile attack path. Use StatCast barrel rates and pitch mix splits to pick hitter props. In the bullpen domain, Milwaukee's relief core has an edge, better high-leverage performance, lower ERA in key frames, and fewer blown save spikes. Cincinnati's pen, while serviceable, has been exposed with inherited run issues and stretch durability worries. That tilts late-inning expectation toward Milwaukee if Priester holds into the 6th. So structure your exposure aggressively in props and tempo until Priester clears 5 with a stable count, only then scale ML or run line. Prop targets concentrate on top-order hitters. For Milwaukee, Christian Yelich, Bryce Terang, and Willie Adames, if in the lineup, are TB 0.5 hit candidates against Littell's susceptibility to contact when counts rise. For Cincinnati, Elly De La Cruz offers upside in HR per terabyte in bursts. Spencer Steer and Nick Senzel can pick up extra bases versus fastballs elevated by Priester. Starting props. Priester over 7.5 kiloseconds, Littell over 6.5 kiloseconds if line favorable, and first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0 as an anchor given both starters' ability to suppress early scoring. Market pricing has Milwaukee as modest favorite, totals in the mid-7s to 8 range. Public money will chase Brewers ML and hours, while smarter flows head to K overs and low total bets. If Priester's K line shortens pre-lock, scale correlated Yelich TB hit props instead of bloating ML. If Littell's HR/ER lines inflate, tilt to Brewers offense. Unit allocation, 1U base, first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25U, Brewers ML, 0.75U conditional, Priester over 7.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U, Top Brewers 0.5 hits overs, aggregate 0.6U, Yelich total bases over, 0.5U, De La Cruz hour, 0.25U flyer, Littell over 6.5 kiloseconds, 0.25U. Parlay builds. 2 leg equals first 5 under plus Priester over Ks. 3 leg equals Brewers ML plus first 5 under plus Yelich TB over. Small unit 4 leg adds flyer HR leg. Limit volatile legs to 1. Live pivots. If Priester's K line shrinks dramatically, double down on correlated TB, hit plays and scale ML. If Priester shows early pitch count issues or first inning control is shaky, hedge ML exposure into first 5 or props. Always watch bullpen warm-ups and scratches. An unexpected arm inflates or deflates late value fast. Lock props early. Monitor the first 2 innings, and adjust aggressively. That is how you turn a sharp edge into compounding wins. This tilt in San Diego pits Zach Gallen for Arizona 13-14, approximately 4.70 ERA, against a Padres starter yet to be locked. Many books list TBD. Given that partial certainty, your value extraction leans heavily around Gallen's known profile, mediocre ERA but swing and miss upside, and structural edges you can monitor intraday. Gallen's barrel, HR, and exit velo splits reveal risk when he misses in the zone. That invites TB overs from San Diego hitters when he mistakes pitches. Even without full certainty on the Padres starter, you can safely lean into Gallen over Ks, first 5 under, and sharp TB plays, while waiting to scale ML after starter clarity arrives. Gallen's peripheral numbers show elevated barrel, flyball rates and occasional HR damage. His ZERA often outscores his ERA, suggesting regression risk, but he also generates a decent K floor when command is sharp. That makes Gallen over 7.5 kiloseconds, 0.6 U, a high-value prop when posted is less than or equal to 8.0. Meanwhile, the unknown Padres starter forces you to hedge ML exposure until that name and pitch metrics are confirmed. Keep ML bets conditional or small early. The safer tempo play is first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25 U. Gallen can suppress early adversity while the Padres starter ramps in, compressing scoring early. Bullpen context is another lever. The Padres relievers carry a strong reputation this year, with low bullpen ERA and reliable high-leverage arms, whereas Arizona's bullpen has shown cracks, especially in inherited run-split performance and long-inning relief. That differential tilts late innings in San Diego's favor. If Gallen exits ahead, the Padres' pen can likely hold. If the Padres starter falters, AZ's relievers are less dependable. That structural reality means you scale ML or run line exposure only after both starters prove into the 6th and bullpen status is stable. On the hitter side, San Diego's lineup should capitalize on Gallen's elevated pitch mistake frequency. Hitters like Fernando Tatis Jr., if active Manny Machado, and Juan Soto, if in the lineup, are candidates for TB overs when Gallen airs. For Arizona, Corbin Carroll remains the HR flyer. His 30-30 season changes the risk profile relative to most flyers. Instead of stacking 2 hours in one ticket, use HR as the high volatility leg and lean TB hit overs for consistency. Market signals matter. Books open Padres as slight favorites or toss-ups depending on the starter reveal, and totals in the high 7s to low 8s. Public money will chase Padres upside in hours, while sharp tickets head to Gallen K props, tempo plays, and TB plays. If Gallen's K line shortens or the total dips pre-lock, scale TB in K props. Cross-book checks and early line movement are essential. Suggested configuration, units relative to 1U, first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25 U, Padres ML, 0.75 U conditional, Gallen over 7.5 kiloseconds, 0.6 U, top Padres over 0.5 hits, 0.6 U aggregate Machado, Padres TB overs, 0.5 U total, Carroll hour, 0.25 U flyer. Parlay SGP builds. 2-leg equals first 5 under plus Gallen over Ks. 3-leg equals Padres ML plus first 5 under plus top Padre hit over. 4-leg tiny equals Padres ML plus Gallen over Ks plus Machado TB plus Carroll hour. Only one volatile leg per SGP. Lock props early. Monitor bullpen warm-ups and scratches. Adjust sizing based on starter reveal, and hedge aggressively if the first 2 innings show high counts or zone trouble. Tonight's tilt in Los Angeles is shaping up as a feisty test of starter quality and bullpen depth. The Astros are sending Jason Alexander to the mound while the Angels counter with Christian Robinson. MLB's probable starter listings confirm that pairing. Alexander has posted a 4.83 ERA with decent K upside this season, while Robinson's small samples mark him as a developing righty with modest command volatility. That dichotomy immediately frames your edge tree. Target Alexander over K when line is reasonable, use first 5 under as your tempo anchor, and key TB hit overs when Robinson airs. MLB.com. Analytically, Alexander's barrel and exit velocity splits suggest he's allowed more hard contact than his surface stats show. His ZERA frequently exceeds ERA, meaning his true risk is in loud singles and doubles more than baseline damage. Yet his SWSTR% and chase metrics give him a usable K floor, so if books underestimate him, Alexander over K's 0.6 U becomes a clean angle. Robinson's strikeout profile is less assured, so his over K line should be sized cautiously. Instead, his downside invites TB overs from power threats when he leaves pitches up. Bullpen disparity further inflames value. Houston's relief staff has had depth issues, key arm injuries and workload overuse that make late frames susceptible to damage. The Angels' bullpen, while not flawless, offers more reliability in middle relief and high leverage frames. That means if Alexander exits earlier, the lineup gets heat, the Angels gain late leverage. Consequently, scale ML exposure only once Alexander passes the 5th with manageable pitch counts and bullpen temperatures look normal. On hitters, Houston's lineup includes high-impact names like Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, and Jeremy Pena, if active all TB/HR threats when the count favors hitters. For the Angels, Taylor Ward and Mike Trout, if in lineup, are natural power and TB overs when Alexander makes mistakes. Use StatCast, barrel splits and plate discipline metrics to pick which batters to back based on the pitcher's recent allowed miss zone. From market signals, books will likely open a tight fight with slight lean toward Astros home-road splits. Totals will float based on late bullpen news. Sharp money will head to Alexander's K line and correlated TB hit overs rather than overextending MLs. If Alexander's K line shortens pre-lock, scale correlated power TB legs. If Robinson's ERA HR lines inflate, tilt to Astros offense props. Here's a proposed unit structure: 1U base, first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25U, as your anchor. Astros ML, 0.75U conditional, Alexander over 7.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U, top Astros over 0.5 hits, aggregate 0.6U, Taylor Ward TB over, 0.5U, Carroll HR or Trout HR small flyer, 0.25U, Robinson over Ks, 0.3U, only if line is soft. Parlay setups. 2-leg equals first 5 under plus Alexander over Ks. 3-leg equals Astros ML plus first 5 under plus Altuve, Bregman TB over. 4-leg tiny equals Astros ML plus Alexander over Ks plus Ward TB plus HR flyer. Keep 1 volatile leg max per SGP. Pre-lock pivots. If Alexander's K line shortens significantly, greater than 0.5, shift additional capital into TB hit overs rather than ML. If Robinson posts early high pitch count or shallow zone share, trim ML and hedge into first 5 or TB plays. Always check bullpen warmups and scratch news up to first pitch, those can flip value instantly. Lock props early and treat the first 2 innings as your real-time adjuster, they tell you whether to scale or hedge. Here's a data lean, Pickdawgz style script for Mariners vs Dodgers, Game 14. You'll want to double-check last-minute pitcher confirmations, but I'm using the most recent probable info and team metrics to structure the narrative. Tonight, the Dodgers go with Emmett Sheehan, 6-3, approximately 2.86 ERA, as their starter. The Mariners' probable pitcher is TBD as of listing, but their probable list shows Tyler Glasnow is scheduled in the upcoming slot. So treat this as Sheehan versus a high-leverage opponent, likely Glasnow or another top arm, and build your edge tree accordingly. Sheehan's strikeout upside and bullpen risk versus Seattle's starters' power profile and home pen depth. Sheehan's 2.86 ERA and 86 K so far project him as a K-friendly arm. His swinging strike and whiff metrics tend to beat market expectations in fair books. That means Sheehan over K's becomes a nucleus prop if lines are as less than or equal to 7.5 minus 8.0. Mariners starter, if it is Glasnow or someone similar, will have more upside but also more variance. His over K's line should be playable if posted conservatively. The optimum structure is to anchor with first 5 under, early innings often compressed, and lean into starter Ks plus TB, hit overs rather than early ML bloating until full game clarity sets. Bullpen strength is the late game lever. The Dodgers bullpen ranks 22nd in ERA in 2025, with a 4.32 ERA, approximately 1.341 WHIP, and 43 saves, 27 blown saves. This is a shaky relief corps. Meanwhile, the Mariners' bullpen has been among the more consistent units in the AL, with lower high-leverage variance. See bullpen stats, especially. AL side. That gives Seattle the late-frame leverage edge. If their starter leaves with a lead, their pen is more trustworthy to protect it than Law's. That underpins sizing. Only scale full-game ML when your starter clears 5 with a clean pitch count, else lean props. Hitter props. For Seattle, Cal Raleigh is by far the biggest weapon. His power and exit velocity profile make him a TBHR target if the Dodgers starter misses up. Julio Rodriguez, if leading off, is a 0.5 hit candidate in any matchup with walk and hit probability. For LA, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and Mookie Betts are your names. When Sheehan leaves anything glove high or when counts favor hitters, those are the TB/RBI plays. Use recent StatCast splits and pitcher allowed barrel rates to pick which of those get overs. Don't overcrowd HR legs. Use one flyer max per ticket. Market dynamics. Books are likely to open Dodgers favored given history and roster depth. Total will be mid-8s or potentially low 9s depending on weather dome. Sharp money will smell Sheehan's K line and first 5 under. Public will chase ML and power names. Watch for pre-lock K line shortening and total depressions. Those are efficient signals to scale correlated props. Cross-book line variation plus or minus 0.5 on K lines or plus or minus 0.25 on totals is actionable. Ticket design units relative to 1U base. First 5 under 3.54. 0 to 1.25U anchor. Mariners ML 0.75U conditional on starter health bullpen checks. Sheehan over 7.5 kiloseconds. 0.6U if is less than or equal to 8.0. Top Mariners over 0.5 hits, 0.6U aggregate across 2 to 3 hitters. Cal Raleigh total bases over 0.5U if line is generous. Ohtani hour 0.25U flyer or Freeman TB over depending on matchups. Mariners starter over K's 0.25U if line is mispriced. Parlay SGP layout. 2-leg equals first 5 under plus Sheehan over K's. 3-leg equals Mariners ML plus first 5 under plus Raleigh TB over. 4-leg tiny equals Mariners ML plus Sheehan over K's plus Rodriguez hit plus Ohtani hour, only one volatile leg. Live pivots. If Sheehan's K line shortens sharply, scale into LA hitter TB, hit overs and lock the 2-leg. If Seattle's starter posts a high first inning pitch count or shallow strike rate, hedge ML into first 5 or props. If bullpen warmups show a surprise arm for LA, cut ML and wait toward props or HR hedges. Treat innings 1 and 2 as the real market. That's where you decide to scale or hedge. Final picks after pre-lock checks. First 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0, 1.25U, Sheehan over 7.5 kiloseconds, 0.6U, Mariners ML, 0.75U conditional. Top Mariners over 0.5 hits, 0.6U, Raleigh TB over, 0.5U plus conservative SGP first 5 under plus Sheehan over K's. Lock props early. Watch bullpen signals and pitch counts, and adjust dynamically to avoid unnecessary variance. Tonight's matchup in Oakland brings a classic underdog matchup with real edges. The Royals will hand the ball to Noah Cameron, 8-7. Approximately 2.95 ERA. 125K, and the A's counter with rookie Luis Morales, small sample, 3.08 ERA in limited IP. That pairing sets the narrative. Cameron is the more established floor arm with control and upside. Morales offers flash and the chance to exploit untested hitters. Your playbook: Cameron over K's, first 5 under, and correlated TB hit overs versus Morales when he misses. Cameron's control numbers make him a textbook tempo suppressor. His low walk rate and manageable hard contact mean he keeps early frames tight. That justifies first 5 under 3.5 minus 4.0 as an anchor. His whiff rates and K9 suggest that if books misprice the K line, e.g., is less than or equal to 6.5 minus 7.0, Cameron over K's is a solid edge. Morales, while efficient in his small sample, has limited predictability. When he misses location, he gives up extra base hits. That's where TB overs for A's bats or 0.5 hit overs become profitable angles when lines are soft. StatCast splits and the recent allowed barrel rates will pick which hitters to prioritize. Bullpen strength significantly tilts value. Kansas City's pen is steady. ERA in mid 3.60s, strong inherited run control, while Oakland's bullpen is unstable, with higher ERA and whip. If Cameron exits into mid-innings with a lead, KC pen advantage becomes a meaningful edge. That means full-game Royals ML exposure can be sized more confidently than A's ML. If Morales is roughed early, scaling toward KC props or hedging into TB plays is safer. Hitter targets. For KC, Vinny Pasquantino is a standout. Power and run producer profile make him a top TB RBI play versus LHP. Salvador Perez in favorable abs is also a TB or hit over candidate. For the A's, Brent Rooker or Nick Kurtz are power threats worth TB overs if Morales leaves something in the zone. Use low juice overs first and reserve HR flyers for when lines are absurdly generous. Market structure. Odds boards often open Royals favorites in this matchup. Totals typically hover in the mid-sevens. Public money backs favorites and hours. Sharps gravitate toward Cameron's K-line in the first 5 market. If Cameron's K-line shortens, scale correlated KCTB hit over plays. Watch for late bullpen news, scratches, and cross-book line shifts. Suggested allocation: 1U base. First 5 under 3.54. 0 to 1.25U. Royals ML. 0.75U conditional. Cameron over 6.5 kiloseconds. 0.6U. Pasquantino over 0.5 hits per terabyte over. Aggregate 0.6U. Rooker TB over. 0.5U when line allows. Morales over K's. 0.3U contrarian small. A's hour flyer. 0.25U if juicy. Parlay SGP builds. 2-leg equals first 5 under plus Cameron over K's. 3-leg equals Royals ML plus first 5 under plus Pasquantino over hit. 4-leg tiny equals Royals ML plus Cameron over K's plus Rooker TB over plus HR flyer, max 1 volatile leg. Live pivots. If Cameron's K line shortens by greater than 0.5, scale KC prop exposure. If Morales posts early zone trouble or high first inning pitch count, hedge ML and reduce A's TB bets. Unexpected bullpen arms warm-ups flip late exposure. Lock props early. Monitor pitch counts and bullpen whispers, and treat innings 1 and 2 as your real market signals. Make sure you smash that like button, drop a comment with your best bet, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next slate of winners. This isn't about hype, it's about cashing tickets, and we'll keep cutting through the noise every single day.